Finals. These are the four games. Oh boy. So hard to predict. It's so hard to predict. I'm gonna go fixture order. So I'm gonna start with Port and Geelong, which is probably the hardest game to predict, in my opinion. It's the one I'm least decided on of the four. Port have been more convincing for sure over the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks maybe. Geelong have lost games to St Kilda. They lost to the Bulldogs, where Port beat the Bulldogs comfortably. I reckon there might have been one more loss in there for them. That wasn't too ideal. So purely based off that, you have to give Port the confidence going into this game that they'll be able to get the job done, just purely on form. I think their midfield is also far and away better than Geelong's, and I think they'll win comfortably out of the middle. I don't know if that wins them the game in this scenario, but Rosie, Butters, Horn, Francis, Wines, and Drew, when the five of them are on, unreal. So I think they'll win comfortably out of the middle there. There's something about Geelong and finals like atmosphere, though, regardless of where it is. And there's also an air of uncertainty about Port as well for me, given the straight sets exit last year. It's just this game's going to be very close, I think, whether we like it or not, whether we think it is or not. Something's pushing me the Geelong way. Something's pushing me this way. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide because I think it's the wiser pick, and I do think they're the better team. But if Geelong win this game of football by any amount, do not be shocked. Do not be shocked. Because I think Geelong might be capable of more than Port. But on form, they've not shown that entirely. So I'm going to go Port Adelaide. Next game of the week, Bulldogs and Hawthorn. Oh, wow. This will be game of the week for sure. Probably the two most exciting teams in it. Maybe not the two best. Although I have said every week so far that I think the Dogs are my favourite to win it all. Playing their best footy. I think again, it's the kicking. Just get the kicking right. And they're actually going to be unstoppable. Having said that, Hawthorn are a massive shot at this. I don't disagree with anyone thinking that Hawthorn can really shake things up and go all the way here, but I think they're going to fall at the first hurdle. I'm sticking with my um staunch backing of the Dogs. I think they're arguably the best team in this. They just need to kick straight. If they don't kick straight against the Hawks, they're done. They're done. They're not winning this game if they don't kick straight because the Hawks are one of those teams that will punish them. But I'm going to tip the Dogs. I'm going to back them into a little bit more finals experience than the Hawks. I'm going to back them in to keep a steady head and get the job done. Moving on, Sydney and the Giants. You would think this is the hardest game to tip, but I'm pretty certain that the Swans are going to win this. And I'm also pretty certain that they're going to win it comfortably. I don't know if comfortably means just a good margin or if it means a lot. They could win this by a lot of points. This could be a 10-goal win. Why do I think this? The Giants for me are still a little bit like they're a very good football team. At their best, they could win the flag at their best, really. Any of these teams could win the flag at their best. I don't know why I even cite that. But the Giants are very good. But they're still a little bit. I mean, even as late as last week against the Dogs, they've shown those little lapses, and I don't know if they're as capable as some of the teams here. Sydney, for me, however, have had their slump. The first half of the year, I thought they were easily the best team in it. Obviously, I think everyone with two eyes and a brain thought that. They had their slump, and I now think they are firmly out of it. They've showed for me, a lot more cohesion. They're a lot more like the Sydney in that first half of the year compared to the Sydney in that 6 week block. Heaney will come back in, McCartan will come back in, they'll be fit and firing. I think this Sydney team is very good. And they're back to what we sort of expected from them. If this is a closer game and there are sort of those signs that Sydney maybe aren't back to what we thought they'd be, it's an interesting one. I think they're going to romp the Giants here. I think they're going to roll through them. Just my opinion, though. Brisbane and Carlton is the last game of the week of the week. Anyone that knows me knows I don't tip against Carlton. Like just pure AFL tips. I don't tip against this ever. This is very different. We're a podcast trying to remain it completely impartial, trying to bring a little bit of objectivity to this. Here are the objective facts of this game. Carlton regained Charlie Kerner and Harry Mackay, two Coleman medalists. Mitch McGovern, a very good defender. Zach Williams, who has the ability to impact games massively. And Sam Doherty, one of the most experienced players in the competition. Again, an outstanding player who has the ability to impact games, as we've seen, especially in finals like atmosphere. He did that last year. I just, I think Carlton, I'm tipping Carlton. Here's my thing with Brisbane is they're a very good football team, and I had them to win the flag as early as late as 3 weeks ago. But as they fell out of that top four, something just seemed off with them. And then you look back to Essendon last week, and it just seemed off. It just seemed off to me. And Brisbane are such an interesting. They could easily come out and roll through us. They're that kind of team. Their best is outstanding, obviously. It's why they're there. That's why they recovered from the point they were at the start of the year to now. And it's why I backed them for a lot of that middle portion of the season to do so. And I had them winning the flag for a lot of that middle portion of the year. But last week has just put a bit of doubt into my mind as to whether that end product is there, whether that four-quarter performance is there. And granted, the same sort of concerns lie with us. Do we have a four-quarter effort in us to beat Brisbane? I just think they would have rolled over Essendon a little more comfortably. And I wasn't inspired by the way that game ended. And it's put the little inkling in my mind with all the players coming back that this Carlton team has something about it. Not necessarily to go all the way, but to just show that we're still here. And we've beaten Brisbane this year up there. And that's something else. Some more confidence that we can take in with the returns. I think on paper, the teams are very similar. I actually had this. Did I have this as my grand final at the start of the year? I did. I had this as my grand final. I'm tipping Carl. I think we're going to do it. Don't really care, to be honest, how this comes off. But I think more so than ever, this is one of those games where I feel like I'm playing. And it's like, if I don't go in thinking that we're going to win, what's the point? To Carlton, it is.